recording. So I'm clicking on record now. So I'm really hoping that we're going to get the recording from now. So anyway, guys, have you guys, or do you already use Cocitations, or is Cocitation something new to you? If you can just give me a yes or okay, it's totally new. Okay, so we're getting lots of news coming in. Okay, so we've got Ganti saying that he's recording a webinar as well. Okay, so we've got lots and lots of yeses coming in, guys. Sorry, lots and lots of news coming in on here. So Cocitations is totally new to you guys. So anyway, I'm minimizing the chat box and I'm going to continue. So anyway, we're going to be teaching you how you can use Cocitations, guys. It is an advanced topic, this is what we're going to be teaching you in today's webinar. So anyway, the very first thing that I want to cover is some emails that I've been sending you. I made you aware that we're going to have a very special guest, and I've been referring to her, sorry, as the queen of SEO. So anyway, I just want to make notes that I haven't made up this name myself. I actually seen a very famous and a very reputable marketer refer to her as the queen of SEO. Now, she's very proficient in SEO, guys. You ask her about on-site optimization, off-site optimization, ask her about backlinks, ask her about anchor text diversity, about PBNs, about domain authority, page authority, domain authority, trust flow, citation flow, backlink counts, whatever, guys. She's most probably going to know about it. If she doesn't know about it, she's going to know where to get the answers for these kind of things, guys. At the same time, guys, she's also a coder and she's a developer. She develops her own applications. She makes her own code, guys. If she knows a strategy and she wants to automate that strategy, she's got the skills to put that into action. Now, I just want to make notes as well, guys. Our very special guest, I've actually seen this webinar. She's only presented this webinar once to her, or she's only ever presented it exclusive to her own list. And I've actually been after her and I've been begging her for almost like 4, 5 or even 6 months since I've seen that webinar to really have her come on and teach us the same method that she was teaching her users as well. So I'm going to introduce her to you now. Her name is Lisa Allen, and I'm sure many of you guys have heard of her as well. She's got a brilliant product line and a brilliant product range as well, and she's got a really nice following. So Lisa, if are you there, and can you come on mic?
Hey, Abbas.
Fantastic.
Yep, I'm here.
Brilliant.
Awesome. Wait, that was quite the intro. I feel 10 feet tall.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so Lisa, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make sure that I'm going to be passing full control over to you. And to do this, I'm going to find your name in my list. So if you can just bear with me for 1 second, because I'm fairly new to webinar myself. And I'm going to make you an organizer.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm making you an organizer now. And I think you might have to accept it.
Accept it. It didn't really ask me to.
Oh no, okay. That, you know why? Because I've made you an organizer. I need to make you a presenter. So I'm going to make you a presenter now, and I'm clicking on yes.
All right. There we go. Everybody see my screen?
Fantastic.
Let's see, I think.
Okay, we've got a lot of yeses coming in.
Okay, awesome. It's not showing up in the chat. Oh, it's in the questions. There we go. All right, awesome. So anything else you want to say before I take over here, or?
No, Lisa, it's all over to you, and I'm going to put myself on mute. We've got a lot of yeses coming in.
Okay.
Oh yeah, there was one question that I wanted to ask you, Lisa, just before you get going.
Yeah.
Can you actually see the questions that the users are asking as well, and that they're answering in the chat box?
Yeah.
You can?
Yes, I can.
Fantastic.
I can see them.
Okay.
So there they are.
I'm going to put myself on mute, and everything's over to you, Lisa.
Okay, awesome. Well, I am really excited to be here today, and Abbas isn't lying. He has been after me for a while to give this presentation to you guys, and it's not for wanting to do this webinar that we haven't done it yet, but because I wanted to make sure absolutely everything was perfect before we did it. So just a little obsessive compulsive perfectionism. I really apologize for it taking so long. So what we're going to be talking about today is co-citation and borrowing authority from other websites that have way more authority than you do. Now typically the way that people have tried to do that is by getting that site to give them a backlink. You know, there's a whole cottage industry has grown up around trying to get backlinks from edus and .govs and from other high quality sites. And so that is something that has kind of evolved over time, but Google has kind of also gotten really kind of sneaky and wise to that. They've become a lot smarter, and so a lot of those tactics have kind of stopped working. And so being able to get that authority from those sites in a different way is something that's really valuable. So let me just move this down. I see somebody is chatting, but it's like sound. Can you guys hear me? There we go. Pull that down. Okay, everybody says they can hear me, but one person said something about sound. Okay. All right, I guess it's okay. So, so what we're really going to be teaching you is how to get that authority transfer and how to get it from other websites without them needing to give you permission, without them needing to do anything. And in fact, they don't even need to know that you're borrowing their authority. That is how well you can kind of sneak behind the back of these websites and go straight and have Google view you as like you're their best friend, or as if you're having lunch with a movie star every day of the week. That's really what this is that you're wanting their authority to rub off on you. So let's talk a little bit about some of the signals that Google uses to determine where your website belongs. Now, Google has many signals that their algorithms have become more and more complicated over time. And so let's just have you guys list some of the signals that you think are really big and effective with Google in terms of getting a site ranked. So what do you think are the best ones, the most important ones? Traffic, that's a really good one. On-page SEO, social. Let's see, slide the screen to the left, please. Not sure what you mean by that. Links, video, relevant content, trust and authority, local relevant content, time spent on page, time on site, and low bounce, quality links. So you're all right. Those are all really important factors that Google uses to determine where your site belongs. But the one that we're going to, well, there's actually two that we're going to be focusing on today. And the first one is topic relevance. So the way topic relevance has evolved over time is that Google started out not being very smart. They relied on keywords, they relied on backlinks, and I'm sure you guys all remember the days when it was enough to put in the same color of text as the background your keyword 15 million times and you would shoot to the top of the rankings. Now that doesn't happen anymore. Now in some ways that's good because there was an awful lot of spam and it was really hard to find what you were looking for, but it has made it harder for people who have good content to find a way to get up to the top, because having good content a lot of times isn't enough. You remember that old saying, it's not who you are, it's who you know. And so Google has gotten really smart and they started to score people for not only relevance but the authority of the website. And what we see now is that Google looks several tiers outward or several links outward at the topics of the pages that you're linking to or are linking to you. So if I have a backlink from a site and they are linking to a bunch of other sites that are similar in topic content to me, then that actually rubs off on me that I'm considered more relevant because you have a cluster of content that is all on the same topic. And somebody said the bad old days about the old backlinking. Yeah, I agree. It was easy, but it wasn't that good. So, okay, so the other thing that we want to talk about today too is, and they're kind of intertwined topics, is the authority of the author and the domain. So Google wants to know is the domain trustworthy? Does the domain display expertise and great content on the topic? And another one that you maybe might not think about right away is the site a news channel? Now, does that mean that you have to be CNN? No, but there are a lot of content and sites that curate content and aggregate it from other sites to cover it in a news-like fashion. And so that's what we mean when we say, is the site a news channel? That also confers quite a bit of authority on a site. So is everybody with me so far about the authority and topic relevance? Yes, 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 yes. Yep, okay, good. So let's move on just a little bit and get to co-citations and how those tie in. Now, back in 2012, when Google had done their Panda and their Penguin updates, there was quite a few changes, and this is when they started really getting smarter about whether your content was on topic and started. It's almost like the search engine started to think for itself. It started to understand the actual content that you were writing about and not just see keywords. And so in that time, people who were doing SEO professionally, a lot of the big sites, started noticing a definite shift. And so I'm going to be quoting a little bit from Search Engine Journal, who wrote a really good article about this at the time. And I don't know how this slipped through the cracks for most people, but even in the fact that they and Moz were talking about it, that almost nobody took a hold of this and did anything with it. And so here's what Search Engine Journal had to say. If you remember, after the famous Google Panda and Google Penguin updates, link building was significantly revolutionized by the introduction of new, more pure and reliable methods by Google. In other words, Google wanted a better way to judge the quality and importance of your content. Likewise, SEO professionals are now suggesting that anchor text is perhaps diminishing in significance and is now being replaced by co-citation and co-occurrence, as many SEO professionals and analysts believe. So they're saying that this is a significant shift in the way Google actually views your content and how it judges your content. So they're calling this co-citation and co-occurrence. So let's just go over a little bit of what Tim says, so what does that mean? I'm getting to that. So what is co-citation? Well, here is a really simple chart of what a co-citation looks like. So here we have Site A. Let's say that Site A is a news site or somebody who blogs consistently about golf. So their site is about golf. They have medium authority, but they're not really like a huge site. They have some authority, but they talk about authorities a lot. And probably a lot of their authority has come from talking about authorities. Let's say that Site C is a really big authority. They are a site that Google just loves. Anytime anybody has anything to say about golf or they publish anything about golf, it pops straight up to the first page. That's how much Google loves this site. And so here is maybe you and me with a little tiny site. Google doesn't know who we are. They don't care who we are yet. They haven't really paid much attention to our content. And so we're having maybe a hard time ranking because this is such a competitive niche. So what happens when Site A publishes a new page and talks about this site and then talks about us as well is that Google will see a link, a similarity between these sites. And so they say, well, if this person is being talked about by this site that talks about a lot of authorities, maybe I should check them out and take them a little more seriously. And so here's another quote from Search Engine Journal from their article. And it says, as strange as it may sound, co-citation refers to the process of link building without actual links. Let me just repeat that because that's one of those what moments. As strange as it may sound, co-citation refers to the process of link building without actual links. Unlike anchor text, where actual links were embedded in words or phrases, co-citation does not necessarily have to involve actual outgoing links to your website or blog. So it can, but it doesn't have to. But Google has now gotten smart enough to figure out when somebody's talking about you, even if they don't directly link to you. More precisely, the process of co-citation refers to the similarities found between two web pages, based on a third-party web page that successfully mentions the first two web pages in a correlation with each other. In other words, in the same article. Based on that co-citation, Google identifies a relation or a link between those two websites, and this is the really fun part here, which is then used as an important search engine ranking factor. So they're not letting you say anymore, hey, I'm important because somebody's linking to me. They want to hear natural conversation about you, and they want to see other people who talk about authoritative sites also talking about you. So what do you guys think of that idea? Let's see, Larry says, Lisa, sorry to bug you, but if you go to the ribbon and select view and play from current slide, we can see your whole slide and what you are pointing to in our windows. Are you not seeing my pointer? I got it. Awesome, awesome, amazing. Makes perfect sense. Crazy. Yes, I can. Isn't that easier to abuse than link building? Google would shut that down. Well, it really depends on how fast you do it. Not how fast, but how you do it. It depends on whether you do it in a way that looks trustworthy and uses a technique that they are unlikely to get after. Okay, so tell him to use a computer, not a phone. I don't know whether he's on a computer or phone. I leave the sidebar here so that I can switch back and forth between slides because I'm not necessarily going to play through. I might go back and forth, so I like to be able to see them here so that I can probably reduce it a little bit. There we go. Okay, so but that is how Google is starting to roll now, is that they have gotten really smart, and so they do their own analysis of whether things are related, but seeing them mentioned together is one of the kind of like a trigger for them to do that analysis of whether those things are related or not. And I see a lot of questions about how we're going to do this. I'm going to talk about the methods here very shortly, so hang on to that question for just a minute. Okay, so we've talked about implied links, which, like I said, I've really thought that was kind of a mind-blowing concept when I first became aware of it. Now, if somebody just talks about you once, then that will improve your search engine optimization. And I'm going to read this quote from Search Engine Journal rather than trying to paraphrase, because I'm not good at paraphrasing. It says, although a few citations may not drastically improve your search engine rankings, it will definitely put you on the right direction in terms of improving your website's search engine optimization. But on being associated a lot of times by impartial sources, it has the potential to create a significant positive impact on your website or blog. So it's building those up and getting co-citations from many different places that actually is in a way taking the place of traditional backlinking. Oh, Tony says, I like your other analogy about the film stars. Okay, let me give that one because I think that actually is a good one. Let's say that I am an ordinary nobody that nobody has ever heard of. Maybe I'm a dancer. Maybe I want to be in film, but nobody's ever heard of me, and when I call the agent, nobody ever talks to me. So what I do instead is that I happen to have an in with Angelina Jolie. So on Monday, I have lunch in Hollywood in a cafe with Angelina Jolie, where everybody can see us sitting at the same table and talking together. On Tuesday, she sends her husband along to have lunch with me, and on Tuesday I'm seen in the same cafe out in the open where everybody can see me having lunch with Brad Pitt. And by Wednesday, what do you think the paparazzi are doing? Are they talking about me? Are they speculating about me? Do they want to know how I know them and why these two are having lunch with me? Of course they do. And Google is exactly like that. They like to follow the news. They like to follow the trends. And so that is part of the reason that this strategy works. Ganti says impartial sources is a very subjective term. Yeah. I think I would probably edit that if I were writing that by saying on being associated a lot of times by impartial appearing sources. So that would be my edit there. Alrighty, so let's see just a little bit more about this. So I wanted to present another idea to you about this. I wanted to show you something that maybe you hadn't considered is actually going on when you do co-citation. So we're talking about the flow of link juice and authority. Now there's a traditional thought about which direction link juice flows, and that is that it flows forward from the site giving the link to the site receiving the link. But that isn't what's happening when you're doing co-citations. What is happening is that you have the link juice flowing because this site talks about this authority site. They become a little bit of an authority themselves. So you have the link juice flowing backwards and then making a U-turn and flowing back to you. So you get it going backwards, making a U-turn, and boomeranging back to a site with less authority. So that's really what's going on. Now does that blow your mind a little bit, that link juice actually does flow backwards? Let's see. Do you see this as having the same effect with videos? Videos on page 1. Videos do actually produce a little bit of this as well, particularly if you have links through the video. I think a lot of people are aware of how to use videos in that way to pass on a little bit of link juice. So I have a couple of comments saying really weird. Yeah, that is weird that link juice actually does flow backwards. If you really look at what's going on there, that is what's happening, is that, you know, the link juice and the authority is flowing backwards, making a U-turn, and then going somewhere else. Now, Google would like you not to know that, but that's what's happening. So let's talk about how we can actually do this on purpose. Because, you know, it's all great and stuff for this to happen accidentally if somebody decides to mention us, but we want to do it on purpose. So we're going to use this to improve these 3 content ranking factors. We're going to increase the semantic relevance of our content, our site's authority, and our site's trust levels. Okay, so let's see. I made that too small and now I can't see. Okay, so let's talk a little bit before I get into the actual techniques. I see somebody saying I'm sneaky. Yes, I love things that are sneaky. I just love things that work in unexpected ways. That's so fun. So where this technique actually came from. Now, I am not the original genius who came up with this. I would like to claim credit, but I'm actually not the person who came up with this. I actually observed somebody else doing this, and they had a little piece of this sequence that they were doing in a course that they were teaching, but they never explained what they were doing or why you would do that. And I really hate not knowing why things work. I'm just one of those people who is really curious. When I was a kid, I drove my mom crazy by taking apart my radios and other little electronic things. And of course I get that from my dad, so really drove her crazy when the two of us were doing it. So anyway, I wanted to know why this worked. And I thought about it, and I looked at it, and I turned it over this way and that way, and you know, for the longest time I was like, I know this actually does work because I can see it work, but I don't understand why. And then I finally got it, and I realized that it was the authority that was rubbing off from other sites that was doing it. So I'm not the one who came up with this, but I did figure out how to automate it because it was a very onerous technique when it first started. It took a lot of time. It was very effective, and so I was very motivated to do it, and then I handed it over to my VA, who really did not have any choice other than to do it. But she got, you know, she came to me after a while and said, you know, this is really taking me a long time, and so what can we do about that? So I came up with some automation to do this. But before we get to that, let's talk about the hard manual way. Now, the hard manual way, there's a couple of different ways. As you know, there's always different ways to do something and get it to work, and there might be several different ways, but one of the hard manual ways is to simply write little articles and place them on a PBN or other Web 2.0 sites, along with links to these authorities that you find and your own money sites. Now, to do that, that means that you have to have somebody write an article, you have to go post it, then you have to go do research and find those authorities and find the best ones to get the best co-citations. And as you know, that's a lot time-consuming, it's a little bit expensive, and the big problem with that is really that co-citation carrier articles like this eventually age and fall out of favor, and then Google kind of forgets about them, and so they kind of lose their effectiveness. And so there are some things that we definitely could improve off of this to make it actually work a little bit better and have more longer lasting effect. Okay, so is everybody with me so far? Yes? Yes? Awesome. Okay, great. So let's talk about the way that we actually do this with RSS feeds that makes it more automatic. And it also causes this effect to last longer, and it actually is more powerful this way, the way that I'm going to show you. So the first thing that you want to do is that you take the RSS feeds from your own content, and then you find the high authority sites in your niche. Now, you won't need to write any content because instead of having a carrier article, we have what we call a co-citation feed. It is a feed that constantly shifts and is generating new co-citations all the time because Google, as we know, really loves new content, and it loves things that change and update over time, and a feed will always do that, and it does that on autopilot. And then we'll also need to make sure that our content, which we call a single feed or a sticky item, that content always stays in the feed with the rest of the items. So does that make sense to you guys overall, or would you like to see more of a diagram of how that works? Make sense? See? Okay. See, diagram makes sense, but yes. Okay, so let's go to the diagram, and I'm going to show you more of what this actually looks like. Okay, so this is a co-citation RSS feed. You see that when you go with your web browser and view an RSS feed, your web browser will usually reformat it so it looks like a web page. And that's essentially what an RSS feed is. It's a little web page that's like a hub of information about one particular topic. And so we can create these, and because RSS feeds are made to pass on information about new content, they're not something that ever gets slapped. Google really loves RSS feeds. And so here's what we're looking at. We've got an RSS feed with a title, and this should be an SEO targeted title, so it might include the keywords that you're looking to rank for. So if I was looking to rank for golf tips and tricks, I might say golf tips and tricks by itself. I might say golf tips and tricks news or newsletter, but this has SEO value here. And then you would have a title, not a title, a description, I'm sorry. You have a description here that is SEO optimized. And so this would be like the leading paragraph, but it has the long tail keywords in it that relate to this, and so it more tightly targets this so that Google understands that this particular feed is a cache of this type of information. It's a cluster, and Google loves clusters of information. They rank them very highly, and so by clustering these things together, it's almost like a what do you call it, a content landing page where it has a bunch of links to different things, different parts of that topic. And so that's really what you're building here, is you're building almost like a little content silo. So now let me explain the rest of the things that are in here. Now we talked about your content being in here. So this is the target content. This is the article or the video, and you can do this with videos as well. This is the content that I actually want to rank. This is the specific page. I'm not just looking to rank my whole site. There's a specific page that I feel is really targeted to this particular keyword, and so this is the one I'm trying to rank. This is the one that stays here 100% of the time. Now I've also pulled in, and you do this with a feed masher, but it has to be a very specific kind, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, because not all feed mashers will do that, and so there's some specific abilities that they have to have in order for this to work. So we've got a site from Authority Site A. Now Authority Site A also talks about golf a lot. Whenever they publish something about golf, Google will usually rank it really quickly, and when you go in and search for different keywords about golf, they will turn up in the results frequently. So we know that they're an authority site, that Google just likes them a lot because they have over time accrued a lot of authority. Now we've got Authority Site B, which is a different site, and Authority Site C, which is another different site, but they're all kind of in this same category where they talk about the broad topic of golf a lot. They might not talk about golf tips and tricks individually all the time, but they're talking about golf, which is the broad topic. And so we brought them into our feed using a feed masher, and then we have more content from our own site so that this doesn't look like it's out of place, and it raises the authority of our site overall over time as well. And then there's more content from these three authority sites. And the big thing to notice too is that with feeds, now let's say that Authority Site A has this feed, and tomorrow they publish a new article. Well, what happens to the RSS feed? What happens to the RSS feed is that the oldest item on that feed leaves and is replaced with the newest item in the feed. So we have that change, that freshness that Google is looking for. And so that is how that, that actually improves that, where it won't age and fall out of favor, is because Google will continue to come back and re-index this because it sees it changing all the time. And so all the things in here that have links, here's our article that stays here and continues to be channeled all of this extra authority and relevance by these other sites over time. So that's really how it works. Now, does everybody understand, basically, do I need to explain what a feed really is, or does everybody pretty much know what a feed is? Somebody says shoe overload. Well, that's actually why we built a tool, is because, without a tool it becomes a lot of copying and pasting, and you can't remember where you are in the process and that. So, Dennis says, does our article always stay in the top? It doesn't have to, but it can. We actually, and I'm going to kind of give you guys a little bit of a hint of the kind of co-citation service, kind of feed masher that will actually create these. When we did version 1.0 of the tool that we built, we actually were using Yahoo Pipes for that. That was the only one that we could find that would do it. It was a little bit clumsy. We had problems with their captchas. And then they decided to shut it down. And we looked and looked and looked and we couldn't find one. So we built one. But we'll talk about that a little bit further in. But that particular feed masher service does have the ability to keep this in here forever and to either mix it in or put it at the top or pretty much let you choose whether you want the feed to be randomized every time it's recreated. So it's very flexible. So just to that question. Let's see. I think we've got some other questions and feedback here. Can you make a feed out of Google Alerts for really relevant day-by-day news articles? Yes, and I will show you one that I did. And I have a feed that runs off of Google Alerts. So yeah, you can. Our particular feed service does know how to deal with Google Alert feeds. Okay, so let's... Somebody's saying, tool please, buy link. Well, I haven't even finished showing you all the good stuff. So is there any other questions that anybody has about the actual items that go into the co-citation feed and how it works? Stupid question, where does the feed go? Well, the tool that I'm going to show you actually will send it a couple of different places. So you need to have, just like email or your website, you need to have a host that actually carries that and makes it available to the website. So that is what the feed mashing service that we created does, is it makes it available. But it does a bunch of other things, but I don't want to get into that too early. So yeah, it will send it quite a number of places. It does quite a bit of pinging. It does a lot of publicity for these. So, we'll get into those in just a second. So, do you guys actually want to see a demo of the tool? Because I have it here. I have the latest version. We can walk you through one whole run if you like. And okay, so somebody get me a piece of content. Make sure it's clean content. A website article or a video that you'd like to run one of these for. Let's just give me a URL in the chat, and we'll talk about that. And I'll go run you through one. So here is the actual real live tool. Okay, so let's see. Let's grab that one. This is the first one. Okay, so this is one of the URLs that was given to me. And let's say extreme parrotlets. Okay, I don't think I even know what that means, but that sounds entertaining. So let's start with that one. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to ask it to go out and find my feeds. Now, I could do this manually. You 100% could do this manually. But it's a lot of searching through things and trying to find the actual feed links. Now, let me ask you this, the person who gave me this link, does this one actually have, does this website on WordPress or something that actually has its own RSS feeds? Oh, yeah, it is. Great, I found it. Okay, so this is the first part. Remember that we wanted our own content to be in the feed, and then we want some more items from our own feed so that this looks a little bit more natural in the feed, and we're conferring more authority on the rest of our site at the same time. Small species of parrots. They sound really cute. I'm sorry, guys. I'm having an animal lover moment there. Okay, so once you've got that, it goes out and finds this for you. Now, you could go and find this yourself easily. but it just does it really quick. So you can do that and then go to the next tab. You can see that this is numbered, so it just kind of walks you through the process and one step at a time. Now let's go and get some, let's see, maybe a YouTube channel. And I think that's great. So now what it's going to do is it's going to go and find the movie stars for us. And you can see that we've got several different types of content that you can look for. The reason we chose these particular ones is because these domains tend to have a lot of authority and they tend to rank highly on their own. Now, I have a question here that I'm going to answer while it's busy off there looking for the feeds. So what do you do if the site doesn't have an RSS feed? Well, you can use an alternate type of feed, like maybe from one of your social profiles. A YouTube channel works just fine. It should be something that has a direct link to your own site. So if you had a channel that was for your website on YouTube, then probably in that channel header you're going to have a link to your website. And so it should be something like that that has a lot of listings that go back to you. But you can use a related as an alternate if your site doesn't have feeds. Let's see, does it work also for foreign languages other than English? Yes, it does, because what you'll be doing is putting in a foreign language keyword here, and so Google will be using that when it returns, because it probably would not be returning results for, probably wouldn't be returning results in a language other than the one that you specified the keyword in. Okay, so now that it's gone and found these, you can see what the information that this is giving us. Now, incidentally, this information, the DA and the PA DA is a domain authority and PA is the page authority. And so this is telling us how much Google likes these particular sites. And so you can kind of see which ones are going to be able to pass you the more powerful amounts of authority and topical relevance. So let's look at the first. We've got one that looks like it is really on target in terms of relevance. So I'm going to take that one, and to choose one you just have to hit the plus button and it will add it to your short list. So let's add maybe another one. Let's load this one. Happy birthday Kool-Aid and Smokey. Okay, this looks like somebody's blog about their birds. So that would probably be a good one. It's been around for a while. That channel has a page authority of 48. So that's pretty good authority there. And most of the other ones look fairly new, so we might want to do something like blogs. And I'm going to clear these out of here so that makes it easier for me to look at what else I've got here. Let's see, this software works also for sites in Italian language. Yes. Yes, it does. All you need to do is put your keywords in here in Italian. And so this is now going and looking. Look at it's finding more feeds. These will be blog feeds. You'll notice that the domain authority and the page authority is blank until it gets to the end, and then it will check those. Now you will also need a Moz API key. You can get a free one that this software will work with the free account, and so you'll need to fill that in the settings to get this information. But there's actually a link in the settings page for you to go and get yours if you don't already have a Moz API key. So here now look at the domain authority of some of these. Studentswithbirds.wordpress.com. Okay, so WordPress is conferring this domain authority, but look at the page authority. The page authority for this one is still really high. So let's grab their feed. And that looks like a good one. I think I would take that one because that is highly relevant. It appeared, when you see them here, what this software is actually doing is it's going out and asking Google for what sites it likes the best about these particular keywords. And so the ones that are appearing in the top couple of pages are the ones that it picks to check for feeds. And so we've got that there. Okay, so let's move on to the next step. You can see this goes really fast. It makes it so that you don't have to go and check all these sites for feeds. It just goes and scrapes them for you and tells you about how powerful they are or how not powerful they are. Okay, let me check the questions here before we go on. Let's see, will it work for local, for instance, DUI attorneys, Alexandria, Virginia? Yes, it will. You would probably want to do, and we'll talk, this is the part that actually creates the feed and sends it to the feed mashing service that we have. You will need a plan on the feed mashing service because this is built especially for SEO, and it is, you won't believe some of the things that it does. It is really cool. So so let's see, what were we talking about? For those local pages, probably what you would want to be doing is just looking for feeds that are about attorneys or about DUI or things like that. Maybe even things that are just about attorneys in general or about the law in general. What you want to do, and I see people make this mistake a few times, that they'll try and go too narrow, too literal with the feeds that they want to bring in. Because really what you want is sort of a broader topic. You want somebody who's talking about that whole topic, and what you're trying to rank for is just a little piece of it. And so instead of trying to look for feeds that are about curling irons, look for feeds that are about hairstyles. Instead of trying to look for feeds that are about one type of shoe, look for feeds that are about running and running equipment. Does that kind of make sense to you guys, to kind of go a little bit wider instead of trying to go really narrow? I see some yeses. Yes, yes, sure does. Good. Okay, awesome. Let's see, I also see another question. Lisa, you mentioned that the co-citation would not drastically increase your rankings immediately, but over time. It really depends on how hard the keyword is. I'm going to show you some results towards the end, some results that people who are customers got with the first version, and some results from RSS Authority Sniper 2.0, which I'm showing you here. And so, but just a hint, one of those results is from a blog post that I have that is out there that is in a fairly competitive keyword. It is not a local keyword, so it's not highly qualified down by being a local keyword, so it's not that little bit easier to do. But I actually managed to get this on the first page within 6 days. And I have been above and below Digital Marketer ever since I got it on that page, and I've just been spaces, I think, about 5 to 9 since then. And I published the one co-citation feed, just one, and that's what happened. So I'll show you the results from that earlier. Will there be a replay? Yes, there will. I see a lot of people are asking about RSS Authority Sniper 1, if they have it. Yes, we'll talk about that towards the end because there is an upgrade path for you, and I'll explain that at the end. So let's just go back to the software itself, and I'll talk about a little bit of what's changed here. So you remember that I mentioned at the beginning that in version 1 we had Yahoo Pipes was doing the mashing, and they closed. Apparently Yahoo decided that it was taking up too much of the resources, and we had kind of been feeling like they were probably going to do something like that for a little while because we were seeing a lot of maintenance issues to where they weren't really maintaining their code and something would be broken for a long time, like all the captchas were broken for the longest time, and then they closed it. So after that happened, we went looking for another feed masher, and I had people from my original RSS Authority Sniper 1 group sending me feed mashers to look at. And we looked at them and we evaluated whether they could do all the things that needed to be done. Could they handle YouTube feeds, because this software is really popular with video marketers? Could they keep an item in the feed long term? Could they insert items that didn't come from a feed? Because remember, YouTube recently closed down the version 2 API, and you could get a single item feed from YouTube before that, but with the version 3 API you can't. And so it really knocked out a lot of the functionality between all those changes between, you know, YouTube changing things and Yahoo Pipes changing things. So it really knocked a lot of that stuff out. And we just were not able to find one. We went through about 50 services, and so we decided that we had to build one. That, you know, that was the only way. And it really wasn't what I wanted to do for that for those 8 months, but I think in the end it will be the best thing for everybody, because it really, now we've got a service that has a lot more power than it used to. And Carrie says, so you can use your competitor to help you rank. Yes, you can. And then Tony says, so you could do the same article feed with different sets of other feeds, so you have the same URL in 3. Yep, you can. And you can slightly vary the targeting of the keywords that you use in the feed titles and things. So yeah, there's a lot of neat things that you can do with this. So anyway, this is the part that replaces Yahoo Pipes. This is the service that we built. It's called Rank Feeder. It hosts SEO co-citation feeds, and not only hosts them, but it actually will do a lot of publicity for them. So we have integrated 97 different ping services, and when you publish something to Rank Feeder, if you check this box, ping on publish, the first thing it does after it compiles that new feed for you is start telling the search engines about it and making a holy heck of a racket about your new content, which brings the search engines in really, really quickly. Let's see, do we need proxies? No, you do not. What are any additional costs? Well, the Rank Feeder service is a subscription service, as you might imagine, because we are requesting different copies of the content and doing a lot of pinging. It takes a lot of bandwidth and a lot of computing power to do that. So it is subscription, but I think it's really reasonable. It's just the cost of a few gigs, really. You know, if you went to Fiverr and had somebody do gigs for you for SEO, that's really about what the middle cost is about. Okay, so I feel like we're getting a little bit off track here. So let me just go back to what I was going to show you about this. So here is the screen. You can have as many Rank Feeder accounts entered in here as you want. Now this uses an API, so because it uses an API, there's never any problems with, you know, defenses, like Google will have CAPTCHAs and Yahoo Pipes had CAPTCHAs, so there's never any CAPTCHAs. You just load the account. Let's see, if I click on load, you can see here that it's got the projects that I've created for that account. If I switch accounts, it will load the projects for the other account. And for SEO value, here's where you put the feed title. So you would optimize your feed title for the keywords that you're going after. And then the description of the feed, as we discussed. You add LSI keywords and make a nice little description that, you know, is targeted to what you're trying to rank for. Projects are just for your information, so you can tell which feeds belong. You know, if you have clients, you can make projects for clients or for a specific website or topic that you're pursuing, so you can find out and find the feeds for that particular content easy again. And then another SEO feature is that we've got categories, and these are, most of them, the same categories that Google actually uses. So you'll be able to, and these show up on the feeds so that Google can tell what category they really belong to. So you can see that we've really put a lot of SEO targeting in here, where a lot of the feed mashers that we looked at that wouldn't do some of the things that we needed them to do anyway didn't have any of this, or they would do something like brand your feed with their own name in the description. Let's see. Bob says, wasn't the app a one-time payment in 2014? Yes, the app was, and what we're looking at here is the app. Remember that you need a service, just like your email can't go out just because you have an app on your computer. There needs to be a service that's actually connected to the web and is alive and doing this work all the time. Because let me, just to kind of show you what's going on here, let's move out of that. Okay, so here is the whole, well, most of the system. So here is your desktop software. It is sitting on your computer, and it does the research work for you. So it finds your own content feed, it locates the high authority companion feeds, and then it sends this information of what you've chosen to the service over here that is actually hosting the feeds. Now, this service, as part of the hosting, on a regular basis will make requests to fetch the newest version of other people's feeds and the newest version of your static pages that you want folded into your feed. So this has to run all the time. Now you could create this on your website or on your desktop on your computer, but without it being, you know, something that's running as a service open to the web all the time, no search engines would ever find it. And that is what this provides here. So this is the part that is not a one-time fee, because this has ongoing and maintenance costs of the bandwidth, the server, those kinds of things. But what you're going to see here today of the software, that is a one-time fee, and then you will need a plan here. So does that explain your question? Okay, great. So nothing funny going on here, just it needs to be open to the web where the search engines can come and request it, and it needs to be running all the time to go and refresh these feeds, because remember, the freshness is part of what makes this work. Okay, so we'll cover a little bit more of that diagram a little bit later. And of course, it's also doing the pinging of the content and the feeds and that, so you've got indexing action going on there. Okay, so let's go back here. Yes, Dan, there is an upgrade path. Okay, so I think I've explained most of what we do here. This is just simply a place where you can pull together the information and choose which content you want to go in that co-citation feed. So here is the URL. So this URL is going to be in that co-citation feed. This feed from your site is going to be there. Actually, I think I'm just going to fill in, because I need to fill that in so I can show you the rest of the demo. And let's see, get cute. Okay, so this is just, since I don't actually know much about Parrotless, I'm just going to put that as there. And I'm going to just put this in test project since we're doing that. And then I'm going to put this under arts and entertainment, audios and videos. Let's just down here, computers, finance, games, health, hobbies and leisure. I don't remember where I had put the things about pets. Home and garden, that's probably what it is. Okay, so news. news, online communities, blogging. You can see we've got quite a bit of things. Pets and animals. There we are. Pets. Somebody says to put it in paintball. Okay. Notice the Help tab in the software. Does this lead to tutorials, videos? Yep, it does. Videos, lots of videos. So covers pretty much all of the things that you need to know about how to use the software. I like to put onboard help. That means I get less inquiries at the help desk. Sneaky me, I know. Okay, so let's say that we're gonna just put it newest first, and we're gonna ping it on publish. And this is another feature of Rank Feeder itself, is that it will re-ping this and pull the search engines back to this feed to re-index and see your newest co-citations every so often. So I'm gonna put it on every 7 days. Now we can also, and this is another a way of adding more authority, is that you can also manually add a .gov and a .edu co-citation there. And so those will also stay in the feed all the time. So let's just go over here and I will show you how to do that. Let's say cite .gov birds. Okay, so here's a nice thing about migratory birds. So let's just grab this one, and I'm going to stick that in the software here in the .gov. So I've got one custom, and we call this a co-citation sandwich. Now this was something that was suggested by one of our customers who had been using this technique, so we actually added this to the software at his request, and I think it actually really increases the power because you've got those, got the .govs and .edus. Now a lot of times .govs and .edus won't turn up in feeds, so they don't really have feeds, but we're, you know, kind of borrowing their authority anyway by including one of their pages that ranks highly in this. So let's do the .edu, same kind of thing. And we've got birds.cornell.edu. So let's go online bird guide. I think I'm going to grab this one. Huh. That is a really old looking web page. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll grab something else. Let's grab the base. Okay, so and then I'm going to add that to the edu spot. That's all I need to do is add those. So it checked to make sure the pages are really there, and it adds them. So now I've got basically the pieces that I need. I just need to make sure that because you can add more to the shortlist than you want. So we make it so that you can choose which ones out of the shortlist you want. This is the shortlist here. Okay, so all you need to do at that point is say create authority feed and get the URL. All right, takes it a second. The reason that it takes it a second is because Rank Feeder has to actually go and load all these URLs, validate them, and then do the work to munge the whole thing. And if some of these sites are a little bit slow, then it might take it a few seconds to actually retrieve all the content that it needs to make the new feed. Okay, so we say okay, so it's made a new feed. Go next, and here is the feed that it has made, and if everything has gone right, we should see it right here. Okay, so here's the feed that we just made. And look at, here is Buy from Extreme Parrotlet Breeders right here in there. And then we've got these feeds. And this actually is from YouTube. And I'll talk a little bit more about YouTube and something that we've done with YouTube there later. There's just so much to cover. I'm really sorry if I'm hopping around a little bit, but we've really been working on this for quite a while, and so there's a lot of really neat features in here to show you. But so that's the feed. It has been created, and the Rank Feeder service is now in the process of telling 97 different ping services that this feed is available for them to come and index. And what they'll see is this here. They see all of this cluster of content featuring high authority websites and high authority video channels and your content. So we have a living co-citation running here, because this will continue to update as new articles are published or new videos are published from those authorities and from your site. This will continue to update, so it's alive. It never ages. It never goes away and loses its authority, and that's really what it does. I see. Cool. Wow. Okay, so it's how FeedBurner works with it is what I'm waiting for, as I'm not sure about that. Okay, so where is the feed hosted? My site. The feed is hosted on my site. Remember that you want the co-citation to appear natural and like it's a third party. Now, this particular site is one that we actually went out and competed for to purchase in last year. We went and found this one, and the reason we chose this one is that it had some of its own domain authority to start with, and that it had news on it beforehand. And so here's what you got, is that it already looks impartial. It already, covers news, and so it's got a lot more power than it would if I just went and bought something, like a brand new domain that had never had anything on it. Now, we also checked this one very carefully to make sure that it hadn't really had any spam on it, and we couldn't find anything. So that's part of what you're getting out of it, is that you're getting that impartial or impartial appearing third party there. Okay, wow, I just fell off my chair. Awesome. So let's see. I have to get to work very soon. How much longer is the webinar, please? Well, as far as I understand, Abbas, you are recording, aren't you? I know he's recording and I'm also recording, so.
Yeah, we're recording.
Okay, so there will be a replay. So, if you really absolutely have to go, we will miss you, but there will be a replay. So, but thanks for coming. We really appreciated you being here. Let's see. I have all day. Take your time. Yeah, we'll get to the sales page in a little bit. So anyway, that's the part that we were talking about. Let's go back. Okay, so somebody mentioned they wanted to see FeedBurner. Okay, so now this is powerful enough up to this point that we have these authorities that we're bringing in and doing co-citations, and that we send it to Rank Feeder, and then Rank Feeder starts publishing and pinging like mad about this content, so that those feeds and all of the links in them get indexed really quickly. But we're going to go you one better. We're going to send it through FeedBurner next. So here is the URL of this feed that we just created, and here is my FeedBurner account. I'm going to say log in. You notice that it goes and it logs into your FeedBurner account, and then all you got to do is say validate feed. And when you say validate feed, what you're asking Google to do is look at this feed and say, do you accept this feed? Is it properly formatted? And then what Google comes back with is a suggestion for the feed title in FeedBurner and a URL. And you can change these once it's suggested them. Once you've said validate feed and it's come back like this one, I would probably just change to something like Parrotlets News, because it obviously does help you a little bit to have a more targeted, a keyword targeted feed URL. So it would be at feeds.feedburner.com/parrotletsnews. So let's say burn feed, and it successfully burned the feed. You notice we didn't have to go over to FeedBurner and log in or anything. We just did it right from here. And so by sending it through there, Google is going to get that indexed pretty much immediately, because in order for them to serve a feed, they have to know what's in it. And so this is the next step that reinforces everything that we've done up to this point and gets it indexed fast. So Google is now hearing noise about this from everywhere. It's hearing it from RankFeeder, it hears it from FeedBurner, and then once we've done that part, you can ping it from your desktop. So I'm not sure I'm spelling this right, am I? Okay, so if I had a longer tail keyword that I was using, I would probably put that there in the keyword title. Now, this is actually going to go through and ping everything that we've just done. So it's going to ping the RankFeeder URL. It's going to ping the FeedBurner URL. You notice we're making a heck of a lot of noise that all leads back to your content. And then the blog post itself, or the page, and then the actual feed from that site. So all of these are going to get pinged right now, and it does that from the desktop. So we have a secondary set of pings going on from a different IP address. So you're getting kind of reinforcement. And it did it. That's it. And then if you go into the history, you can see that it saved all that information. So you can see which content you've done and the keywords and things that you used. It saves the URLs all for you. Let's see. So that's pretty much the software. Now, the other thing that I wanted to show you really is more about RankFeeder itself, because RankFeeder does quite a number of extra things. You see how this came from a YouTube feed? Let's go back here, actually. I want to go back to, okay, so this was a YouTube feed. Let's copy the feed URL. Now, a feed straight from YouTube, no, that's not, that's wrong thing. Grab this. Yeah, I had the wrong thing selected. There we go. Okay, so once upon a time, YouTube had really lovely formatted feeds that had the whole description of the video. It had a little thumbnail. It had a lot of other information in here about those videos. But when they went to their version 3 of the API and they kind of changed all the feeds, all of that stuff went away. And so if you look at a feed straight from YouTube now, this is what it looks like. But when you include a feed in a RankFeeder Cocitation feed, what it does is it expands it. It puts the description of that back, and it puts the thumbnail, the large thumbnail, well, I guess it's the medium thumbnail, but it puts it back. So this feed is actually useful again. So I just wanted to show you that guy, because that's something that a lot of people have just kind of blown their minds over. Okay, so let's go back to our, because I think I maybe kind of wandered off a little bit, but okay, so here's just a basic listing of what's in RSS Authority Sniper 2. If I missed anything, it searches for the feeds, for the authority feeds for you. It has the API integration with RankFeeder, so it can push those feeds out to your account on RankFeeder and create them there. It has the page and domain authority integration with Moz. Again, you can use a free account from Moz to do that. It has the integration with FeedBurner, and then also does its own set of pingings, and then of course the submission history and export. And it can handle unlimited RankFeeder and FeedBurner accounts if you want to separate them for different clients or different topics. Okay, so let's see. Somebody said Slide 16, yes we did. This is what the rank feeder dashboard itself looks like. And one thing that you need to know too is that when with most of the feed mashers that you have out there, even if they could do what this one can do as far as the SEO value, there's one thing that none of them do for you, and they never let you index, they never let you edit your feeds. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little bit confused here. So yes, I am human. But they never let you edit them. But with this one, you can go back and change the targeting a little bit. You can add keywords and change the content that's in them. You can add new URLs to them. So basically, I wanted to show you, this is what the feed editor looks like in here. So it's a lot more flexible. Everybody still with me or falling asleep? Do I need to move on quickly? No, keep going. Okay, so this is the feed editor. You can see I've got a list of feeds made here. Let's see, this is the one I'm going to show you a little bit later that I was telling you about, that it took me 6 days to rank a piece of content for a particular keyword using this one co-citation feed. So let's go look at that. Here is the feed editor, and it's logged me back out because we've been talking too long. Okay, so here we go. So here is what is in this feed. You notice that I've got the project, the feed title. The feed title, if you looked at that over here, it actually became part of the slug. So we've got SEO-friendly feed URLs in here as well. And then, of course, the description, which I can edit, update, change, fine-tune with more keywords later if I want. Feed sorting, tags that I can add, change how often the drip ping happens, and whatever. Sorry, I'm losing my voice a little bit. Okay, so here are the things that are feeds that are included. So here is the feed from my blog. Here is a feed from an authority site. I've got 3 authority sites here. And you notice I can choose how many items I want from them. And then, of course, here are the items. This is the content that I was ranking. And these are the 2 co-citations from the .gov and the .edu sites that I use as the co-citation sandwich. Okay, so, but that's just, it's really easy to create one. You can come back here in here and edit it. But RSS Authority Sniper makes it so you don't even have to go over there to create it. It just does it through the API, as you saw. And so that's how they're kind of tied together. So let's move on. We've talked about that a little bit. We've talked about the co-citation system and what it's doing. Does anybody want me to cover any more of this particular chart? Yes? Okay, what would you like me to cover from this chart? Somebody says, can the page I'm ranking be a page rather than a post? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It can be the front page, it can be a post, it can be, you know, even an attachment on your site. So, but yeah. Now, as far as how to set up the feed on your blogs, most blogging software actually does already have its own feeds, and so the feed from your particular website would already be available. So like Blogspot does, WordPress does. I'm not sure about Joomla or Drupal, but they might. But yeah, so those all have feeds, so a lot of times your feed will already be there and you just will need to know where it is, and that the software will go and find it. How long till you see results? Really depends on the keyword and how hard it is. But let me go and show you some of... Okay, so this is from version, these 3 people are people who posted these in our Facebook group after using version 1. And so Joanna said, I haven't curated a lot of posts, but I will say the posts that I have curated and have used the authority sniping strategy on are the ones that got fast indexing, fast traffic, and actually deliver the most traffic to the 2 blogs that I applied the strategy to. And then Leonard says, hey Lisa, just checking on one of my posts, only did it this morning, already on first page, awesome. And Sarah said, I just started using it this week, but the post I wrote on Tuesday and went through the authority sniping process is #1 on Google right now for those keywords. I'm a believer. So that was version 1. Now, version 2 comes out, and this is one of my beta testers. Now, he is a really busy SEO consultant. He does a lot of local biz stuff, and he has had his VAs pumping out, well, he put up this site 10 weeks ago. He's had his VAs pumping out Cocitation feeds for 7 weeks, and you can see his results that he pulled from his rank tracker. So he says, keep in mind the only thing I've done to rank this site outside of my own killer on-page SEO is use Lisa Allen's Cocitation system. This site was launched 10 weeks ago. My VAs started pushing out Cocitation feeds 7 weeks ago. City name blurred for obvious reasons. Note everything with a map pin is in the 3 box, so he's getting those local places listings there. And he has 23 competitors. His client has 23 competitors in a 25-mile radius. And so he is ranking. Look, here's all the ones with the map pins right here. And then, but look at all the rankings that he's got. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. It looks like he's #1 and he's 2 in the local pack. Couple #1 and 2 in the local, 3 in the local, 3 in the local, but he's at #1 overall. And so these are, you know, he's been doing this for 7 weeks and he's gotten that many results that he can point to on page 1. Okay, and then here is the post that I was telling you about that I did. Let's see if I can get to it. There we are. Okay, so when Mike posted his results back on about the 3rd or 4th or so, I went and had done a feed a few days earlier for a piece of content that I wanted to push, and it's a post about in-stream ads. Basically, I have a tool that does in-stream ad targeting, and so I wanted to push that particular post that has a link to it. And so what I did is I went and I created 1 feed, just 1. You notice here is from the dashboard, May 4th. This feed was made on May 4th, and it started with the ping, and then I ran it through the rest of the process through FeedBurner and all of that, and I didn't do anything else. Nothing, nothing, nothing except check rankings. So prior to publishing that feed, the content was actually from April. So prior to publishing that Cocitation feed, the content was not being shown in the first few pages of Google for the keyword in-stream ads tutorials. Now after I published that 1 Cocitation feed through the authority sniping process, I saw it jump within 3 days, within a few days, to page 3, and it entered on the rankings page 3 at #22. Then the next day I checked, it was at 18. Yesterday, let's see, wasn't yesterday now, it was the following day, so to 12, and then after that it climbed over the fold onto #9 on page 1. Now that was 6 days of pushing out a single Cocitation feed, and you'll notice this is not a local keyword that I was targeting. This is the keyword that I was targeting. So there's the listing from the 10th. You see it's in page 9, or not page 9, spot #9. So page 1 down here, and #9, and this is the keyword that I was going for, in-stream ads tutorials. And since then, I have been seeing this one hop between 5 and 9. So it's been moving around. I think Google's trying to figure out where to put it. But this, you'll notice that there's actually fairly heavy competition for this keyword. And look at who's right above me, digitalmarketer.com. They have a lot of authority. And look at who's right below me, VRoll, who's another big well-known company who does this kind of targeting. So you can see there, it took me 6 days to get into that group. Just 6 days, and I published one. So are you guys, what do you think about that? Is it fast enough? So anyway, is my blog named Lisa Allen? No, my blog is named Authority SEO Lab. So there it is, Authority SEO Lab. That's me. So anyway, I just thought you might want to see that one. And I have it on the slide here, but I didn't think it was really, it wouldn't fit really very big enough for you to see much, so that's why I opened it from my desktop so you could see it full size. But yeah, so fairly competitive keyword. The next pages, I mean, there's a lot of very quality content in the first 3 pages. It doesn't degenerate to junk very quickly. So. Blake says you were on page 3 before doing the RSS Authority Sniper. No, I wasn't in there. I couldn't find myself. I was nowhere to be found unless you specifically put in the name of the post in exact quotes. It wasn't anywhere. I entered the rankings after publishing that feed within a few days at number 22 on page 3. So that's where it first appeared after I did that. And then it crawled up page 2 in 2 days and on to page 1 after that. So okay, so let's see if we have anything else that we need to talk about. So we've talked about the results, we've talked about some of the features. Let's see, everything but the price. Yes, let's talk about the price. Okay, so let's talk about the software. Now the software is normally $67. I have, for you guys, bumped it down to $47 because we're launching. And I believe Abbas has some bonuses for you, so I'll ask him to talk about those here in just a minute. So let's go back down to your talk about that. Okay, so here is the launch offer. The software is normally $67 for a single license. There's also an outsourcer pack, which is normally $97, but we've bumped the price down on those quite a bit. So I'll let you check that out. But you will also need, now Abbas wanted me to kind of walk you through the funnel, because I know a lot of times people are like, oh, there's an OTO. Well, there's not really an OTO, but we will take you to the rank feeder page afterwards so that you can pick out the plan, because you will need a plan to go with it. That's just part of the way the web works, is that in order to have something hosted and visible on the website, somebody needs to pay for the server. And so we have this on a dedicated server. There's nothing else on it. It's all dedicated to you guys, and it's actually a pretty beefy server. So that's what it's for. So the plans, you'll find those range from $17 a month up till $97. If you're an agency, then you might want to look at the agency plan. And you will also be allowed to upgrade at the current pricing if you want later. So that's where we're at. So that is really the offer, is to RSS Authority Sniper 2.0 launch, and then the rank feeder to go with it, so that we can really boost your authority. You can see that it works really, really well. And this product, the whole reason that I decided to go ahead and build a feed service when we couldn't find one is because every week I would get 6, 7, 8, 10 people saying, when are you going to fix the problem with pipes closing? When are you going to give me back my RSS Authority Sniper? And, you know, I really didn't want to build one, but that I decided that was really the only solution, you know, because this strategy works so well that people want it back. And so that's what I'm offering you today, is this sneaky little strategy that hardly anybody is using but works really, really well. So what's the difference between single and outsourcers? Outsourcers pack is 5 packs, so you can give them to your outsourcers. You know, Mike, as I showed you, Mike has his VAs actually doing this work for him, and so he taught them how to do it. You can see it's fairly simple. You know, just look for the domains with the high authority and decent feeds and decent feed content, and then put them together the way they're shown. And I'm sure he probably gives them a list of keywords that he wants them to target, but yeah, that's what it is. It's an outsourcer pack, so you can get a much cheaper price if you have outsourcers and VAs to do this for you. Somebody says sold. So here's Abbas's link. Abbas, do you want to come on and tell everybody a little bit about the bonus that you have?
Yeah, sure. Excellent. Shall I take over from here? Shall I take? I just want to.
Yeah, you go ahead. Take over.
Okay, fantastic stuff. Okay, first of all, Lisa, that was a brilliant presentation there. Live co-citations. If you haven't figured it out, guys, you know, it's leveraging authority from you know, authority websites without the need of actually having a backlink. And it is an advanced topic, which I did mention to you earlier on as well. It's something that not everyone's doing. Now, obviously, Lisa's explained to you why not everyone's been able to do it, because, you know, you need special kind of feeds. The feeds that you're able to get with this are going to be live citations as well. So, you know what, you're always getting fresh content, you know, being updated regularly with your link staying there as well. So it's definitely something you want to be part of. So there's a special that Lisa's doing for us here, and I've got some bonuses as well. And I think I'm going to have to pass the screen over to myself here. So let me just...
Okay, go right ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to try and find... Well, I'm going to pop this back in. And... All right, so give me 2 seconds.
Hey, Abbas, some people are saying the link is not working.
Oh, really?
Yeah, at least one person said so. So let's check and see.
Okay, okay, you should be seeing my screen. Can you give me a yes, guys, if you can see my screen, please?
I can see it.
You can see it, yeah, it should say the Queen of SEO. Fantastic. Okay, so you've just met the Queen of SEO. Okay, let's see what's happening with this link. So it should be abbasravji.com / what was the link there, Lisa? Was it?
I think you had it as a-sniper. That's the one you gave me anyway.
Yeah, okay. Oh, look at that. It's working for me.
Okay.
Yeah, as that's showing, it should show on my. It should show that it's gone over to the Authority Sniper. Okay. Anyway, so this is the actual first desktop application that Lisa was showing you. That creates all of your RSS feeds, does all of your research on your desktop as well. Brilliant tool here on its own, guys. And then after this is where you're going to be offered the other application where Lisa's server does all the hard work and all the heavy lifting for you. But anyway, if you invest in this, I've got you guys a bonus as well. Lisa's been kind enough to let me share these with you as well. So I'm going to be presenting them to you on here. So anyway, we've got a total of 6 special bonuses, and a number of these are WordPress plugins as well. So can you just see my screen, guys, where it says special bonuses, flexible, and it should say 1 flexible A/B testing WordPress plugin? If you can give me a yes, please, in the chat box. Can we see some yeses? You can all see my screen. Yes, okay. Yes, I've got a couple of yeses coming in. I can't see you all saying yes, yes, yes. Okay, brilliant. You can see it. Okay, right then. So anyway, these are the bonuses that you're going to be getting if you pick up any version of Lisa's package today, guys. And these are automatically going to be delivered to you inside of your JVZoo account as well. So the very first bonus is a flexible A and B split testing plugin. It's a WordPress plugin that you can install on your WordPress website. It's it allows you to easily test multiple blog post titles to arrive at the most clickable headline very, very quickly, guys. It basically, you know, click-through rate affects your overall ranking, guys, and this allows you to really make sure you narrow down that best kind of headline that's going to get you the best kind of click-through rate as well. Okay, you got a second WordPress plugin bonus as well. This is a keyword to link plugin. It allows you to automatically turn any keyword on your blog posts into SEO boosting internal links. Now, you all know how important SEO links, internal links and link building is, guys. We just had this whole WordPress plugin on WP SERP Fuel as well, all about internal link building, and this allows you to do it based on keywords. Okay, you got a third WordPress plugin as well. You got WP Social Quizler plugin, guys. It allows you to entertain and engage your visitors and get them to share your blog content with easy to run social quizzes, guys. Quizzes are great. Having engagement on your website is great, and this plugin allows you to engage your visitors in a very unique way. Okay, and all of these WordPress plugins, guys, they're all valued at $67 each. Now, obviously, they're all WordPress plugins, and you can use them on your WordPress websites, guys. And this is the fourth WordPress plugin now. It's called WP Video Opt-in plugin. Now, if you build lists and you have WordPress and you build opt-in lists for your email list, guys, then this allows you to create awesome video background opt-in pages for your offers, services, newsletters, and so much more. And it's a WordPress plugin. And we're going to be sending you off, guys, with 2 PDF manuals as well. Brilliant PDF manuals. I've actually been going through these today as well. The very first one is going to be a rapid traffic secrets. Now, the value is a PDF, guys. A PDF guide, and the value of this is $47, and it's going to show you and it's going to teach you 27 solid methods that allow you to generate traffic. Now, this goes through AdWords to retargeting to absolutely everything, guys. It doesn't just cover SEO on its own, but obviously because this is all about SEO, we wanted to make sure we had something SEO for you as well. So this is an up-to-date 2016 and beyond guide PDF document that allows you and shows you how to do modern SEO and shows you modern SEO tactics. It makes sure that if you follow this guide, you're not going to get slapped. And it allows you to get even with Google, guys. The total value of this is a total of 6 special bonuses. That's 4 WordPress plugins and 2 PDF documents, and the total value of $362. But obviously, I don't want you to base your decision on these bonuses here because the whole value here, guys, is all about these live co-citation feeds, being able to leverage authority from other people's websites without you even having to use a backlink. And this is a really, really sneaky technique that uses FeedBurner, that uses Lisa's own server to update these feeds so that they're always live with your static own website posts on there as well. So anyway, this is what you're going to get. To get this app, to get the whole offer, guys, all you have to do is go over to the link. I'm going to put the link down here as well for you one more time. So it should be abbasravji.com/g-sniper. So I'll just increase the size on this for you as well. And I'm just going to test this link one more time just to make sure I'm entering it in correctly. And that should redirect over to the actual sales page. Oops, nope. Have I typed it in early and it went through. Lisa, are you there?
Yeah, I am. Somebody was telling me that your site was triggering Avast.
Yeah, you know, I had a issue with my site, but that was all sorted out. Let me just double check, and Google was prompting and saying that I did have a virus, but as you can see, that's been removed now. How have I actually given you the? Oh, have I spelled it wrong?
You said G-Sniper.
And how have I?
So yeah.
Oh,
I'm not sure what you're asking me.
Sniper.
Yeah, it was supposed to be A Sniper. I was like, where did you get the G from?
Yeah, okay. Google
Oh
Sniper.
well, maybe maybe he
Okay.
just has something in mind I'm not aware of.
Okay, there you go. A Sniper. Okay, very sorry about that, guys. Here's the link. It's A Sniper. Okay, so anyway, this is the whole package. This is the whole deal, guys. I would highly urge you to take this on. Now, I did see some questions in here as well. Now, will this be the only technique that you need to rank your own websites? No one's telling you to forget about what's working for you. Now, if something's already working for you with your SEO, if something's already ranking your websites, guys, include this with it. Just remember, this isn't getting backlinks for you. This is getting citations for you. This is allowing Google to associate your website with the big boys. And I also saw a question on there as well saying, you know, won't these co-citations be passing your authority over to your competitors? Well, I think the whole idea about this is to use somebody that's more authoritative or is even in a more authority position than you are, and you really being in a position to leverage that authority for your own websites as well. Lisa, you can correct me if I'm wrong there. But yeah, you know, my total understanding from this is, you know what, if something's already working for you, continue to do that, and include this with that. And I'm sure you're going to see some even better benefits than if you wasn't doing co-citations with authority websites.
Yeah, and that's a good point too, Abbas. I mean, there are many, many different signals that Google looks at, and so this just adds one more to, you know, to get you over the hump when something is really, really difficult. I mean, this particular strategy is actually using several different of those signals, and so it's just something to add to and be able to really just bully your way through on some of the harder things to rank. And of course, it makes it really fast and easy for the ones that are a little bit easier as well. I mean, you saw that Mike was ranking his with just pushing the co-citation feeds out.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think there's actually a strategy that you can use with your own YouTube playlist as well, which I actually previously made a video about, which was associating your videos with authority speakers. So for example, I was having videos about keyword research, and I made a playlist made out of all of Moz's videos and made out of like you know, SEO roundtables videos and all sorts of authority channels, and I was in the middle of them just including my own videos in there, not because of the actual SEO benefit, but because of the benefit that I would see when users would actually see these recognized faces, and then they'll come along to my video and think, oh, well, hang on, he must be an authority himself as well. But with Lisa's system, it's all about Google. It's all about the way Google is going to be associating your websites with how this third-party website is going to be co-citing your website with this other authority website, which is absolutely, you know, brilliant. I don't see anyone else speak about this as well. And you know what, I haven't seen another system like this, to be honest, and it's something that you should all, you know, really try and get your hands on if you can.
Awesome. So is there any other questions that we maybe should go over?
Yeah, okay. Okay, what we can do is we can actually go over some questions now. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask them in here. Lisa, if you're okay with spending a few moments.
Oh yeah.
Okay, brilliant. You can go over a few questions as well, and I'll be happy to try
Okay.
and go over a few as
Cool. Oh, I just wanted to point out too that John said that he's been doing SEO since 2012, I think he said. No, 2001. I learned 27 new things here today, and I have been doing SEO since 2001. Great show. Hope to rank.
Excellent.
maxwebrank.com. So cool. Well, thank you. That is awesome. You know, that is one of the things that I really enjoy is teaching. So thank you guys for all being here because I really enjoy teaching this kind of stuff. It's really fun to see how things work and make the system work for you. Now I'm seeing some people who are asking about the upgrade path to version 2 from their previous RSS Authority Sniper. On that, what you should do, hey Abbas, do you have a link that you could give them for the rank feeder portion so they could go straight there?
Yeah, I can. If you give me 2 moments, let me just.
All right. Yeah, so because the upgrade is actually free if you previously were in the 1X customers. So if you had RSS Authority Sniper 1, when you sign up for Rank Feeder, then I will upgrade you. So you just have to send me your rank feeder receipt, and I'll upgrade you.
Just give me 2 moments and
So
find that link for you now. Sorry, you wanted the Authority Sniper.
no, the rank feeder. Just pull one of the rank feeder links, your JVZoo and maybe shorten it or whatever, so we can send them straight to that page, and so you get the credit for it.
Yeah, it took me 2 minutes.
Because there's people here who are asking about the upgrade, so they wouldn't go through the front of the first page.
Sure, I understand. Yeah, okay, I got you. I was
Yeah.
trying to figure.
No, I just wanted to make sure you got credit for that.
Yeah, no, brilliant. Okay, excellent. Just give me 2 seconds and I'll get this link set up and sent over to you now.
Okay. Avis, can we still get your bonus with the upgrade?
Oh yes. Oh yes. You know what? I'm going to actually. I'm going to have to add that on there. I haven't added it on there, so it's not going to be auto delivery. But give me. I'll do that for you
Oh, okay.
as well. It shouldn't take me 2 moments to do. So let me just get this created. And okay. So are you going to be passing this over, Lisa, or do you want me to add it on here?
Where did you put it?
I can put it on my screen, or I can give it to you privately, and then you can pass it over to whoever needs it. It's entirely up to you, however you want me to pass it to you.
Okay, so I'm guessing, see, I've seen this question popping up quite a bit, so I'm not sure who all needs it.
Okay, I've sent it to you, so you can do that. And what I'm going to do is quickly go ahead and upload the bonuses to make sure that everyone who buys Point Leader gets the bonuses as well. So give me 2 moments.
Okay, there you sent it.
Oh yeah, you found it? Yeah, sorry.
Yep, I found it. It's just, we have questions and then we have chat, and they're two different things, so. Okay, so who needed the link to get their rank feeder so they can get the upgrade? Okay, so me. Okay, you guys are scrolling too fast. Okay, let me see if I can get this a little bit bigger. Okay, so that person.
Okay, yeah, the bonuses are.
Okay. Need the upgrade. I need the link. Alright.
Okay, so Lisa, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the recording. We can continue to answer questions, but I'll stop the recording.